Chapter 37-23. The Crow's Mouth. Lin Moyu's past experiences had long made him heartless, burying any sympathy deep within. He didn't need it unless necessary. A large number of divine runes flew out, repairing the holes blasted in the Thousand Paths and Myriad Images formation. 2 great Tao Lords had detonated their great Das, destroying nearly a third of the formation, but it didn't affect the remaining parts. Lin Moyu realized the limit of the Thousand Paths and Myriad Images formation. If 5 great Tao Lords simultaneously self-destructed, it could be destroyed. However, the probability of this happening was low. Just as this thought arose, 4 great Daos appeared in succession. Lin Moyu's expression changed abruptly, and he quickly retreated. The soul-shaking mountain and void suppression pagoda expanded rapidly to block the front. The remaining 4 great Tao Lords in the Thousand Paths and Myriad Images formation simultaneously detonated their great Daos. The Forearm Tribe's unique communication method allowed them to coordinate this action without Lin Moyu intercepting it. Boom! The 4 great Daos exploded together, tearing apart the Thousand Paths and Myriad Images formation. The massive power ripped through the virtual space, creating numerous fissures. The Void Suppression Pagoda and Soul-Shaking Mountain were pushed back by the force, colliding with Lin Moyu and causing him to retreat. The small python beneath him let out pained cries as its soul scattered, severely injured in an instant. Lin Moyu wasn't afraid. If his soul shattered, he could be reborn. However, if the small python's soul was destroyed, it would truly die. The impact continued, and the small python's soul was nearly shattered. A spiritual flower flew out and quickly bloomed, enveloping the small python. Lin Moyu opened his storage space and stored the small python inside. The soul-shaking mountain had numerous cracks, and the void suppression pagoda wasn't in good condition either. Both treasures had absorbed over 70% of the impact. Lin Moyu didn't know how far he was blown away before his soul partially shattered. Seeing his broken state, Lin Moyu chuckled and deliberately shattered his own soul. In a purple light, Lin Moyu was reborn. It was easier to start anew rather than waste time healing. Lin Moyu sighed.
Great Tao Lords are indeed hard to kill. Previously, with the third ancestor's help, they didn't have the chance to self-destruct. I underestimated them.
The 2 primordial virtual treasures were damaged but could recover with the Chaos Mist. As long as they weren't fundamentally damaged, they could heal themselves. Lin Moyu took out the spiritual flower, and the small python was still recovering inside. As long as it wasn't completely dead, it was fine. Lin Moyu flew back, and the Thousand Paths and Myriad Images formation was completely torn apart, leaving only some broken runes glowing. Lin Moyu joked with himself.
Does this count as a crow's mouth? I just thought about it, and it happened.
With a surge of soul power, runes flew out to repair the Thousand Paths and Myriad Images formation. Regardless, the Thousand Paths and Myriad Images formation was still useful for trapping Great Tao Lords. However, if it faced an origin Great Tao Lord like the third ancestor, there was a chance it could be broken. Lin Moyu considered enhancing the Thousand Paths and Myriad Images formation further but realized that its current state was his limit. To improve it, he needed a new understanding of the Great Daos and stronger array eyes. Primordial virtual treasures weren't enough. He needed something more powerful, like the primordial origin virtual treasures held by the Great Domain Emperor. However, this was just a fantasy. Repairing the Thousand Paths and Myriad Images formation wasn't a small task and required a lot of time. During this time, Lin Moyu used 2 spiritual flowers to heal the small python. The recovered small python still looked frightened, having nearly died earlier. It seemed to have a lot to say but held back, seeing Lin Moyu repairing the formation. Finally, the Thousand Paths and Myriad Images formation was fully restored, though it needed time to accumulate great Tao power. Lin Moyu sat back on the small python's head.
Were you scared to death earlier?
The small python spoke with a choked voice.
Scared to death, almost died, and couldn't serve Master anymore.
Lin Moyu chuckled.
Don't worry, you won't die.
He took out a soul refining furnace and immediately refined a batch of virtual soul pills. The small python's eyes lit up, and it devoured the pills eagerly. Lin Moyu tossed it a handful.
These are for you. If you perform well, there will be more.
The small python exclaimed.
Master is the best. I'll die for Master without hesitation.
Lin Moyu laughed.
Where did you learn that phrase?
The small python replied.
From Master's friends.
During conversations with the third ancestor and others, the small python had learned a lot by listening. Once the 1,000 paths and myriad images formation had absorbed enough great Tao power, Lin Moyu used the void sealing rune to store it away. He then took out the jade disc with a missing corner. 3 light points appeared on the disc, each representing a 4-armed tribe great Tao lord. Although they had scattered and escaped, they had now regrouped. None of them noticed the invisible marks left on their souls. These marks were magical, undetectable even by great Tao lords, similar to those on the soul refining furnace. Lin Moyu thought that perhaps only pure virtual beasts could sense these marks, as he was just a soul body, different from them. However, what mattered was that he could use these marks with the primordial virtual treasures. A spark of fire flew out, and the small python followed closely. They traversed through layers of chaotic mist, and the small python absorbed the virtual soul pills, growing stronger. Some weak virtual beasts sensed its aura and avoided it. Lin Moyu thought that if he fed the small python more virtual soul pills, it might become a second-tier soul beast.
Is it the small python's talent or the effect of the virtual soul pills?
Lin Moyu wondered. The small python's cultivation speed was unusually fast, surpassing most virtual beasts. It also had a strong spiritual intelligence from the start, different from many others. Lin Moyu couldn't help but wonder about the small python's origins. After flying for several days and crossing a vacuum zone, they entered another small spiritual domain. A world finally appeared in sight. Lin Moyu narrowed his eyes.
This world seems a bit strange.
Chapter 37-24. A world with spiritual intelligence. The world before Lin Moyu was unlike any he had seen. Accurately speaking, its shape was peculiar, resembling a 6-armed giant. This was similar to the 3-headed, 6-armed giant he had encountered earlier, which was the 4-armed tribe's war god and their ability.
Strange, how did this world become like this?
Lin Moyu couldn't understand at first. He signaled the small python to approach cautiously, feeling something was off. As they drew closer, his sense of vigilance grew stronger. Suddenly, a chill ran through his soul, and without hesitation, Lin Moyu shouted,
Retreat!
The small python reacted quickly, retreating swiftly. As they pulled back, the world suddenly moved. Lin Moyu felt a massive force locking onto him. A giant virtual shadow appeared outside the world's barrier, transforming into a 6-armed giant. One of its large hands slapped towards Lin Moyu. Thanks to his early warning, the small python retreated just in time, and the hand missed by a hair's breadth. However, the terrifying aftermath of the slap still hit them, sending the small python flying. Its recently recovered soul began to shatter again. Gray mist erupted from Lin Moyu's body as the immortality Great Tao surged, combining with the power Great Tao to form a shield against the impact. A giant appeared before Lin Moyu, punching out to counter the force. The 6-armed giant swung its hand again, this time extending it forward to collide with Lin Moyu's giant. With a loud crash, Lin Moyu's giant shattered, unable to resist. Another powerful impact came, and the small python retreated further, its soul severely damaged. Lin Moyu fully activated the immortality Great Tao, accompanied by the power Great Tao, to resist the impact. He shouted,
Stop crying!
The small python immediately closed its mouth, too afraid to make another sound. The 6-armed giant ceased its attacks after 2 strikes. The small python finally stopped retreating after being blown back millions of miles. Lin Moyu's gaze turned icy as he looked at the 4-armed tribe's world. He popped out a spiritual flower and said,
Enter!
The small python's soul was on the verge of collapse, and it quickly dove into the flower. When the giant appeared, Lin Moyu sensed a power not belonging to a great Tao lord, accompanied by a formidable will. This will was powerful, cold, ruthless, and filled with ferocity, unlike anything Lin Moyu had ever seen.
The will of this world has gained spiritual intelligence.
Lin Moyu instinctively thought, but then shook his head.
Not quite. It's more like this world's will has just begun to develop spiritual intelligence, still in its infancy. So, the world shape changed, but how did this spiritual intelligence emerge? That's interesting.
In the small spiritual domains, finding worlds was already difficult, and encountering one with emerging spiritual intelligence was even rarer. Previously, none of the dozens of worlds he encountered had developed spiritual intelligence. Only the Origin Continent, the Black Blood Realm, and the Heavenly God Realm were known to have worlds with spiritual intelligence. This world's spiritual intelligence was newly born and incomplete, like a baby. It would attack any non-native life forms that approached.
Originally, I wanted to try the weaker world will of the cold water realm, but I found an even weaker one here. Perfect, let's see how far this newly born spiritual intelligence can go.
Lin Moyu decided to use the Four-Armed Tribe's world for practice. Earlier, he had felt the power of the world's will, which was far beyond his capabilities in terms of absolute power. The world's will could gather the power of countless lives and great Taos. Faced with an entire world, even an Origin Great Tao Lord would seem powerless unless the true body of the Great Tao Lord was present. Even then, the outcome would be uncertain. In the past, during the Origin catastrophe, the enemies of the world's will were the spiritually intelligent world wills from the Black Blood Realm and the Heavenly God Realm. This showed that to deal with a spiritually intelligent world will, one needed another world will with spiritual intelligence. Lin Moyu thought about how to counter it.
In the soul void, the world's will can manifest physically. In the real world, it might appear in a different form, which is currently unknown. Perhaps I can learn more from this one.
Lin Moyu knew he had to defeat the world's will to get answers.
His power is not something I can confront directly. I mustn't get too close. The world can move, but it requires the cooperation of all great Tao lords within it and prior preparation. His spiritual intelligence is newly born, and his form is unstable. For now, he should be unable to move. So, let's exploit this weakness.
Lin Moyu thought about his methods. Facing a massive, formless entity like the world's will, using the catastrophic scepter wouldn't work. The best approach was to use formations. This formation would be the largest he had ever set up. Maintaining its integrity while withstanding the opponent's attacks would be extremely challenging. Lin Moyu carefully planned, realizing that with his current abilities, he couldn't cover the entire world with a formation. Feeling the great Tao power flowing from all directions in the soul void, he got an idea.
Use the 1,000 paths and myriad images formation as the base, with different images forming a giant. Since he can't move, I'll keep testing him, seeing where his limits are and if I can weaken him.
Lin Moyu retreated further, creating a distance of millions of kilometers from the Four-Armed Tribe's world. He then began to draw a divine canopy. Divine runes flashed in the soul void as Lin Moyu's soul power surged wildly. This formation was different from his previous ones. Lin Moyu knew he had to use all his knowledge to gain a chance to confront the world's will directly. The number of divine runes grew, with tens of thousands not being enough. Countless runes combined in the void, forming a powerful formation. The formations merged, creating a complex structure where each was part of the other. Lin Moyu's understanding of formations improved during this process. He realized his comprehension of divine runes was still insufficient. The small python watched, bewildered, unable to understand what its master was doing. It only knew that Lin Moyu was creating something terrifying. Time passed, and after an unknown period, a massive formation slowly took shape.
Fire as limbs, earth as skull, wood as body, water as soul, metal as blade, the formation is complete.
Chapter 3725. Not strong enough. As Lin Moyu gave the order, a giant with the attributes of the 5 elements appeared in the soul void. The giant's 4 legs were ablaze with fire, embodying the fire great Tao. Its head was formed from the earth great Tao, its body from the wood great Tao, and water flowed through its internal channels, representing the water great Tao. Its weapon was a long spear made from the metal great Tao. The five elements were interdependent, amplifying each other's power and unleashing the full potential of the elemental forces. The terrifying aura emanating from the giant shook the void, dispersing the chaotic mist within a radius of millions of miles. Countless nearby virtual beasts fled in fear. Although this formation was based on the Thousand Paths and Myriad Images formation, Lin Moyu didn't use all the Great Tao's power. He only employed the five elemental Great Tao's metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, which were the most common in the Soul Void. The Four-Armed Tribe's world also possessed these elemental forces, allowing the five-element giant to exert its full strength. Because only the five elemental forces were used, the formation structure was simpler and more stable. The small python asked,
Master, will this giant work?
Lin Moyu replied,
We'll know after trying.
He opened his storage space and brought out Xiao Xiong, the spirit of the questioning fruit mirror. After the mirror's destruction, Lin Moyu had stored Xiao Xiong away. Xiao Xiong respectfully greeted Lin Moyu, ready to receive orders. Lin Moyu instructed Xiao Xiong to test whether it could control the five-element giant. As an artifact spirit, Xiao Xiong was somewhat different from information spirit, but they shared commonalities. Lin Moyu had considered this when setting up the formation. The Water Great Tao was inclusive and had a strong capacity for containment. Xiao Xiong entered the five-element giant and merged with the Water Great Tao. The previously still giant began to move, initially slowly but gaining speed and agility over time. Xiao Xiong excitedly reported,
Master, it's working.
Having been an artifact spirit for countless years, controlling the five-element giant was like gaining limbs for Xiao Xiong, making it feel alive. Lin Moyu dropped the world-burning fire onto a long bench formed by the giant. The formation and the fire both bore Lin Moyu's aura, so there was no conflict between them. With the world-burning fire's enhancement, the giant spear became even more powerful and fierce. Lin Moyu pointed towards the Four-Armed Tribe's world.
Go, take it down. Understood.
Xiao Xiong exclaimed, controlling the five-element giant to charge forward. As it approached the Four-Armed Tribe's world, the world's will activated, manifesting a six-armed giant. The six-armed giant slapped wildly, and Xiao Xiong, filled with excitement, swung the spear to meet it. The two giants clashed, their impacts echoing like thunder through the void. The aftermath of their battle created an absolute domain, making it difficult even for great Tao Lords to approach. Despite Lin Moyu's best efforts, the five-element giant gradually fell behind. This was within Lin Moyu's expectations. He never thought the five-element giant could defeat an entire world. Even with nascent spiritual intelligence, the world's will was too powerful for a mere formation to match. The purpose of this battle was to understand the world's will. Lin Moyu gradually grasped the world's will's strength. A spiritually intelligent world could gather the power of the entire world. Any living being within the world, whether willing or not, would have their power utilized by the world's will. Therefore, to confront the world's will, one must first leave the world. Both the physical body and soul had to depart. It was futile to try to oppose the world's will while still within it. As for destroying the world from within, it seemed unrealistic given the current situation. The world's will of the origin continent would certainly be much stronger and more difficult to handle. Lin Moyu muttered to himself.
My previous thoughts were correct. The best way to deal with the world's will is to use another world's will. The plan remains feasible, but the difficulty is not small. I hope my luck improves. I should make some arrangements on the origin continent, but evading the world's will surveillance will be challenging. If I'm not mistaken, the Lord of Hell was killed by the world's will, but it wasn't the world's will itself that acted. Instead, it was a powerful being left over from the previous era. This is something I must guard against.
The Lord of Hell was very strong, and whoever could kill him must be equally powerful. However, upon reflection, the Lord of Hell's existence had threatened the world's will. reaching a peak that necessitated the world's will to intervene. This meant that the agents sent by the world's will wouldn't be stronger than the Lord of Hell. On the origin continent, the Lord of Hell would certainly face suppression from the world's will, and how much of his strength he could exert was unknown. So, the Lord of Hell died with a sense of injustice and frustration. Lin Moyu wondered how many powerful beings from the previous era remained, a matter that required consideration. In this moment, Lin Moyu realized that a battle with the world's will was inevitable. The same applied to the third ancestor and others. Unless they were willing to become the world's will's puppets, they would have to fight. Both sides were justified, but only one could survive. There was no choice. Through this battle, Lin Moyu gained a deeper understanding of things he previously didn't comprehend, and his Tao heart became more resolute. Xiao Xiong controlled the five-element giant, striking the six-armed giant repeatedly with the spear. The world-burning fire ignited the six-armed giant, but its effect was minimal. The six-armed giant ignored the world-burning fire, even when its entire body was engulfed. The fire couldn't truly burn into the world, being blocked by the world's barrier. This made Lin Moyu realize that the world-burning fire wasn't strong enough. Unless it could directly burn the world's core, it wouldn't have a significant impact, not even being able to breach the world's barrier.
I still need to find a way to enhance the world-burning fire. It's not useless, it's just not strong enough yet. My formations also need to be strengthened. If the plan works, I might not need the formations, but if it fails, they can serve as a backup. My cultivation realm must also continue to improve. The realm is the foundation of everything.
Lin Moyu thought of the discernment beast and sent a mental message to Xiao Xiong.
Return, there's no need to fight anymore.
Chapter 37:26. Not deceived. The five-element giant controlled by Xiao Xiong couldn't defeat the four-armed tribe's world will, but it had one advantage. It could move freely. When it retreated, the four-armed tribe's world will could only watch helplessly. Xiao Xiong was still excited.
Master, I fought pretty well.
Lin Moyu praised.
Not bad.
He noticed that the formation on the giant had partially collapsed. The formation structure was similar to the Thousand Paths and Myriad Images formation, with the five-element giant composed of over 10,000 small formations. About a tenth of these formations had already broken down. If they continued fighting, the giant might lose limbs. This revealed some weaknesses in Lin Moyu's formations.
The strength of the formations isn't enough. I need to find a way to enhance each individual formation. If I had another layer of defensive formations on the outside, it might be more effective. The five-element giant isn't agile enough. It's fine for dealing with an immobile world will, but it's not very useful against great Tao lords. There aren't enough formation spirits. I need to find more formation spirits or artifact spirits and create more formations.
Lin Moyu thought about the artifact spirit in the cloud-piercing sword, which could also be used. However, he decided against using the protective formation from Yuedao City. After repairing the five-element giant, Lin Moyu drew a void-sealing divine rune and stored the giant away. He then glanced at the four-armed tribe's world and vanished into the chaotic mist with the small python. Because of the world's will, Lin Moyu couldn't deal with it for now. However, he was in a good mood, having gained valuable experience from this encounter. This experience was more important than destroying a world. He had wanted to visit the Black Blood Realm to understand what a world's will was like. Now, he had encountered it in the Four-Armed Tribe's world, gaining a basic understanding. The Four-Armed Tribe's world will was newly born and still in its infancy, weaker than the Black Blood Realms. This opportunity was not only valuable but also relatively safe, unlike destroying a world. The small python wondered,
Master, you seem to be in a good mood?
Lin Moyu smiled.
Indeed, the gains are considerable.
The small python didn't understand why Lin Moyu was happy despite not winning. It wasn't stupid, but there were things it wouldn't comprehend, even if Lin Moyu explained them. The small python asked,
Master, where are we going now?
Lin Moyu replied,
To find the discernment beast. I have some questions for it.
Following the direction indicated by the fire line, they flew towards the discernment beast. The journey was long and required a lot of time. Along the way, Lin Moyu thought about his formations, looking for ways to improve them. In the origin continent, things had been quiet recently. The great Dao power was recovering, and soon even those at the heavenly Dao fifth realm could enter the origin continent. However, after the last incident, the various forces outside the heavens were extremely wary of Lin Moyu and had become more cautious. Moreover, with Antares present in the origin continent, everyone knew to tread carefully. In contrast, the most bustling place was the protective Dao fortress. Some people ignored Lin Moyu's warnings and entered the fortress to repair it. Initially, they were cautious, fearing Lin Moyu might attack suddenly. However, when they realized Lin Moyu was inactive, they became bolder. They understood that the protective Dao fortress was in the outer heavens, and Lin Moyu, tasked with guarding the origin continent, couldn't leave. So they felt safe. As a result, they became reckless, and the fortress was being restored, with its energy growing stronger. Antares narrowed his eyes.
I remember the Dragon Race, the Hell Alliance, and the 100 Herbs clan. I'll settle with them later.
He didn't stop them, believing in Lin Moyu's arrangements. Antares trusted that no matter what those people did, it would be futile. Lin Moyu's abilities were only a fraction of what they had seen. In recent years, several powerful figures like the Question Heaven Dao Lord, the Third Ancestor, the King of the Boundary Sea, and the Beast Emperor had left the origin continent, seemingly to participate in a Great Dao competition. This was normal for Great Dao Lords and didn't raise any suspicions. However, after they left, the forces targeting Lin Moyu became even more brazen. Lin Moyu re-entered the Dragon Lake small spiritual domain and was immediately sensed by the Dragon Lake King. As he entered, the chaotic mist churned, and the Dragon Lake King appeared before him. The Dragon Lake King looked at Lin Moyu with a mixture of fear and dislike.
Why have you come again?
Lin Moyu had taught the Dragon Lake King a lesson before, instilling fear. However, the Dragon Lake King also felt some resentment towards him. Lin Moyu said,
I've come to see the Discernment Beast.
The Dragon Lake King whispered,
The Discernment Beast is currently in a deep sleep and doesn't see outsiders.
Lin Moyu smiled.
Is that so? Maybe it will wake up just in time.
The Dragon Lake King shivered.
I'm not lying. It's really asleep.
Lin Moyu said,
Since I'm here, I'll go take a look. Maybe it will wake up.
If it were anyone else, the Dragon Lake King wouldn't have allowed them to pass. However, facing Lin Moyu, it dared not refuse. The Dragon Lake King felt that Lin Moyu seemed even more fearsome than before, capable of killing it easily. The Dragon Lake King suppressed its fear and said,
Follow me, then.
It led Lin Moyu, who asked,
Are you guarding the Discernment Beast?
The Dragon Lake King replied,
It's my duty. The Discernment Beast isn't someone you can see whenever you want.
Lin Moyu continued,
Do many people come to see the Discernment Beast?
The Dragon Lake King shook its head.
Usually, no one comes. The Discernment Beast is often asleep.
Lin Moyu smiled.
It seems I was lucky last time. What was that period you mentioned?
The Dragon Lake King explained.
It's when the Discernment Beast sleeps comfortably. During that time, some great domain emperors and powerful small spiritual domain kings will come. They pay a high price hoping to get some answers from the Discernment Beast.
Lin Moyu felt that the Dragon Lake King was like a small pet kept by the Discernment Beast to guard the door. Soon, they flew out of the Dragon Lake small spiritual domain and saw the unique island belonging to the Discernment Beast. From afar, Lin Moyu sensed a peculiar aura similar to the materials used to summon the Sword Dao Demon. The door to the hut was closed, but it couldn't block the aura. Lin Moyu called out loudly.
Lin Moyu has come to visit. May I see you, Senior?